Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the National Guard products number 140SA. This is a clear anodized aluminum spring adjustable astragal with silicone insert. And this is the genuine article. That's what this looks like. The 140 is representative of the general profile of this item. The S stands for silicone, and A from National Guard stands for clear anodized aluminum. And on this item, you can also order it in the 140SB, B for brass or gold anodized, or 140S DKB, dark bronze anodized would be the other color. Now, what is a spring adjustable astragal? Well, it's an astragal, and astragals are generally installed, I think exclusively are installed when you have a double door installation. And quite frankly, I would not really think you would want two of these installed, or even one of these installed. I would look for the P version or the pile version if you're going to use this as an astragal. Silicone is incredibly durable, and I find silicone's strong suit to be exceptional all-around performance, but especially so in extremely hot temperatures. It seems to stay quite flexible. If you have a power plant in the southern half of the United States, rooftop doors, where it is in the dead of winter north of 100 degrees on that rooftop, you'll want to consider silicone for closing those doors off. And when you install it as a set, you'll notice the link below this video to the product brochure is that you can install it with a smooth version of the material, okay, where you're going to have just a little bit of material that's used for the silicone insert. You will have a 140A that would go in addition to the 140S, not so that you don't have two pieces of silicone trying to make contact with each other, because I think you'd probably not find a conducive environment where the doors are going to reliably close every time. That product brochure also will show you the 140P, which would be the pile version. I would think that you would want a pile, a soft pile that would be there to more elegantly control how those doors are closed off. However, the fact that they're adjustable means, and the point that you're probably investing the significant upcharge for adjustable weather stripping or astragals, is because you need to be able to tailor it over time. That same rooftop analogy, you might have doors that literally swell up and move on one side of the door to the other, and in the arc of that time of the year, you want to be able to adjust that material. However, while these are spring adjustable pieces of weather stripping, I think what might be exceptional as well is to consider using it as just perimeter gasketing as well. The ability to tailor the contact surface from the face of the door to the silicone or the pile to the silicone is crucial, because you might have a door that's bowed. You might have a door that's bowed. You might have a frame that's not plumb, or you might have jambs that are kicked in or out. Adjustable weather stripping allows you to accommodate the improper fit installation, or the fact that the door is now warped. You can tailor that a little bit, and that's very helpful. But as an astragal, that's especially important as well, because pair of church doors, they're wooden, they're 3'6", they're 8 foot tall, they have applied moldings, or they're stile and rail doors with exit devices, hinges, and that's really the problem, the hinges. 70% of the door weight's hanging on that top hinge, so over time those doors seem to come in like this. And there's the gap between the hinge side of the door and the jamb on both sides is now large, and now they're hitting at the top. Well, you can kind of dress that and fix that with time, but what would be really helpful is to have an astragal that will account for that scenario as well. And that's where that long-winded explanation of that is going to get to. Now, there's an image down below this video that gives you the dimensional properties of this item, and let's go over it now. The aluminum is 1 11/16 itself, and that is to the housing. So what you're seeing there, to the 1 11/16, that's to the spring-loaded portion of the housing. Then, of course, you've got some adjustability on this, and that's going to allow you to reposition it in the 1/4 inch range is what you're going to be looking at. And forgive me, it's actually 3/8 of an inch. And that's detailed on the extended description as well. So meaning when you order them as a set is what you'd be able to count on. So, half of that really if you're dealing with a single piece if it was perimeter gasketing. But astragals are certainly installed as sets when they're astragals because these are surface mounted and you need to have something dovetail and touch, or not dovetail, but to communicate with another piece. The projection that's given there is the adjustability, but now the question is the silicone itself looks like it's about 5/16. Okay, so you're going to have that coming off your installation as well. Thickness of the material, they have it at 1/2 inch. Let's see if we can get the tape measure on there. Oh, pardon me, 9/16 is clearly what it says. Indeed, 9/16 thickness. This is listed in the site in lots of different lengths, from 2 foot to 8 foot. You can have longer lengths and you can have custom lengths. If you want longer lengths than 8 foot, just simply reach out to us because we don't list them as the cost to ship that material is generally prohibitive. However, we can happily quote the method of transport for you, which usually is common carrier in lengths like that. Not always, but always certainly special handling charges at a minimum. If you have need for a custom length, and you very likely do, order the next longest piece and indicate in the comment field the net length that you'd like for us to cut the material back to. Why? Well, here's why. This is a 3-foot piece. Imagine if you had to cut it down to, say, 32 inch. Well, you're going to eliminate that first spring installation there and that hole for installing it. The next ones are all the way over here. You'll be stuck trying to mitigate that and that hole as well. I say don't bother. If you've got a 3-foot door and frame and you want to cut these, no problem. If it was me, I would order 2 inch longer. I'd order a 40 inch because that's probably the next size. And then I would specify 38 inch for the header. And then the jambs, I'd order a couple inch longer, and here's why. If it's perimeter gasketing, I would not want to butt this up at the top of the door and the header. What I would do is I would miter that. I'd miter both pieces so I had a very exquisite seal up at the top. And that extra inch on either end would give me the ability to miter that. Now the factory can do that as well, and we can order that for you. There's obviously a charge for doing that sort of work. But you might want to do it in the field only in the sense that you might say that you may want to have total control over what that net size is, because the factory is not going to be able to produce accuracy to a 32nd of an inch, which you might want to try to accomplish. But either way, that can certainly be done. So I would suggest being mindful of what you're ordering and then proceed accordingly. Now, that link to the product brochure also shows some magnetic sets. Here in southern Florida, where I currently am, I currently am here, where our office is. Magnetic weather stripping is really nice, and I see it a lot because a lot of residential construction here is wood frames and metal clad doors. You have magnetic weather stripping, you know you're sealing that door because it's magnetically connected. The need to weather strip against loss of air conditioning is severe, as it is in Chicago, where I lived for many years. To keep the cold out in the middle of January, magnetic weather stripping on those doors that can receive it is a really good idea, and that's also there. And I don't have a lot of experience using them as astragal sets, not a lot of it. I know that it works, but I can always tell when there's a magnetic weather stripping because it takes, you get the door open and then a slight amount of resistance, and then you push it open. Not that that should deter you at all, and I think you really have to be a door person to even detect such a thing or to notice it, but the fact that the magnetic weather stripping can float a little bit and make a positive seal and tolerate a small amount of misalignment as well is also crucial in that regard. Now, below this video is some extended description information that will give you the finish, the size, the insert material. The adjustment screws on 10-inch centers allows for an adjustment without repositioning the seal. Okay, that's really helpful as well, that you can tailor that. ULB, UL10B, UL10C listed. Builders Hardware Manufacturer Association certified as well. There's a link below this video to a document called Installation Instructions that is very handy to review. It basically says, measure and cut to length. Stay at least an inch away from the screws that control the springs. Position the seal on the door as shown. Once properly aligned, tighten the screws. So secure loosely, test for operation, then once you're satisfied, tighten it down and then make your adjustments. And that's really all there is to installing this material. Great quality company, National Guard Products, whose name is quite synonymous with all things weather stripping related. There is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the National Guard products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. If you have any questions on the National Guard products, 140 SA, adjustable astragal, I would also suggest that you consider it for weather stripping as well, or any other, and by the way, screws are certainly included in a complimentary finish. If you have any questions on this or any other National Guard product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.